The art of scaling a business requires more than just increasing sales. It requires strategy. If you're looking to grow, you don't want to miss tonight's show. Stay tuned.
Our goal is simple: to help you achieve the dream and vision you first had when you thought about starting a business. We're here to make growing your business less complicated. There are building blocks to build a sustainable business. We promise to seek them out and address them all. The Better Your Business Show starts now.
Hello, everybody, and welcome to tonight's episode of the Better Your Business Show. We are excited that you are here. I am Natalie Esseman, your host, and my partner in crime, the coach for business, Miss Shanna Mavis herself.
I'm back.
You're back. You're back. Are you feeling better?
I feel a lot better than I did. There was just no way last week. I tried, Natalie. I tried to get out of bed. It sucked me back in. Plus, I couldn't breathe. So it was a lot better me not showing up than, coughing up a lung every time I tried to say something. So,
yes, I'm glad you were able to rest a little bit. I'm glad you were able to rest, which really that kind of goes within today's topic, which is scaling your business, right? Hopefully you have systems and processes in place where you're able to take the time off as needed.
You know what's crazy though? I would love to say yes to that. But I feel like I'm so behind, but and people will have to catch that pre-show combo. I'm not ready. That was one of the things, it's really listening to Brian as he was talking. It was just like recognizing when you are and when you aren't ready. Now, yes, need systems and processes in place so nothing shuts down just because I can't function. Absolutely. So there were certain things that could still get done and were still being done. And I've got an amazing team that I work with over at BEF. So I knew that things would be handled there if there was any, crisis that came up, but fortunately that wasn't the case. But yeah, having that team really made it a lot easier to say, I can't, I need to rest. I need to, let my body take care of itself so that I can continue to function. But yeah, I was really excited for this conversation. We had the Business Growth Blueprint meeting yesterday, and we were talking about some of the challenges, like questions and answers for small business owners. And that's similar to what you and I have tried to do with the show, looking and saying, okay, what are people asking about? What are they talking about? And going to answer the public. But we covered a lot of the the 8 most pressing questions that small business owners have, starting with, how do I create the foundation for my business? What's the formation? What's the structure? To looking at the marketing aspect of it, which we're all well familiar with, that everyone wants to know and feel like marketing is just going to be the answer to everything. But there were some concerns and common themes that we talked about yesterday, and that pre-show convo Brian covered with us, really looking at just the plight of the small business owner. Recognizing you're not alone in a lot of the way that you're thinking about things, but just having that patience and, the tenacity and the endurance to stick it out so that this becomes that success that you can see so clearly in your mind. So I'm excited to hear more of what he had to say. You're absolutely right. I was inspired by his story. When you told it first, and then hearing more from him, I was like, okay, well, how are you doing this? I know I'm not in this industry, but there's so many things. There were so many principles that are going to be beneficial for any business owner who's looking to grow a business, to the level, especially that he's gone.
Yes, definitely. So tonight we have the CEO and co-founder of GreenPal here with us tonight, Brian Clayton, and he's going to go over scaling your business. So his business, Green Pal, has been recognized as the Uber for lawn care by Entrepreneur Magazine, and they have over 3,000 users that are using their platform right now. I went on there just before the show to check it out, and it actually tallies how many people. It has like a counter on there to say how many people have booked their services for the day. They were at almost 9,000 people before the show started for the day. So he says they're an overnight 10-year success. If we can bring Brian Clayton, CEO and co-founder of Green Pal, to the stage. Brian.
How are y'all doing? It's great to be here. Thanks for having me on your show.
Yes, we are thrilled to have you on and to hear more about your amazing story, and obviously let our audience just get to know you. You know, it was interesting because I always like to reflect a little bit about, especially if I've met the guest or if I know a little bit about their story. And I was like, Brian really is just like, if I was to use the word grit and like a salt of the earth kind of guy. Those are the two things that I would use to describe you. Because to do what you've done, I mean, you have to, you know, being an entrepreneur, it's not easy.
Right.
And to scale it, how you scaled and grown. And I'll let you tell your story, but why don't you start a little bit, just with your background, let our audience know a little bit more about you.
Yeah, so today, I'll start with today and then I'll go backwards. Today, I'm CEO and co-founder of a company called Green Pal. And Green Pal is a mobile app that works like DoorDash or Instacart or Uber, but for lawn care services. So if you own or rent a home, you have a yard outside, somebody's got to mow that. Rather than calling around on Craigslist or Facebook or something like that, you just download Green Pal, you pop your address in, and then lawn mowing services around you see that and they compete over your lawn, your lawn, and you can hire them right through the app. And if everything goes well, you can just set it up for the whole season, and it just happens like clockwork in the background. You don't have to worry about it anymore. And like I mentioned earlier, Green Pal is a 10-year overnight success. My co-founders and I have been at this for a little over a decade, and now we have around 300,000 people using it every week for lawn mowing, and we want to get to 1 million. And so it's been 10 years, but it still is kind of day one, and we're kind of at a piece of scale now, but we want to be at bigger scale, and be happy to talk about how we got there from just 20 customers and now 300,000.
Wow.
Yes.
Before Green Pal,
absolutely. I think everyone wants to know how you go from 20 to 300,000. And please do not miss that part of 10 years, right? That's the thing that really stood out to me is you've been working at this for a while, and I was so encouraged by just your love for what you are doing, the way that you described that. You were just so passionate about this that it was worth it. Had you known going into it, you might have made a different decision, but when you were in it, you just enjoyed building this, and it wasn't easy. So let's talk about 20 to 300,000.
Yeah, totally. So it's the first 3 or 4 years are the hardest part because nothing's working, and it's like you're trying to push a rope up a mountain, and that's when most people quit. That's when most people give up. And the way I kind of got through that, and my co-founders and I got through that, is we just made a decision that no matter what, we're just going to work on our best idea, and it doesn't matter how long it takes. We're just going to work on the best idea we have, and show up every day and just do that. And I guess fortunately, I'm not terribly creative because I've had one good idea in a decade, and it's you should be able to push a button and somebody come and mow the yard for you. And so that's that one thing is what got us through the first 3 or 4 years. Was okay. Well, I have no other better ideas. Yeah, there's all kinds of like overnight successes seemingly happening around me, but those aren't my ideas. And this is my one good idea, so I'm going to work as hard as I can on it. So that was the first thing. The second thing was laying out kind of where I wanted to be and where I am now, and breaking it down in almost like levels of a video game almost, and really just focusing on one level at a time, and focusing all of our tenacity on getting through that level and not worrying about anything else. And that's how we got through the first 3 or 4 years, was setting little small goals and saying, okay, level one of this thing is just, how do we get 100 people to use this app in a week? and let's not worry about anything else until we get 100 people to use it. And so what did that mean? Well, okay, well, nobody knows about it. Well, we better go start passing out some flyers, and we better start hanging some door hangers because we need to hustle up 100 people to try it out. Okay, well, we did that. Well, 100 people did try it out, and only 5 stuck around. And so it's like, why did we lose 95 of them? Well, let's start figuring that out. Let's start making the experience better and better. And I thought it would take us 2 months. It took us 2 years to get to 100 people using it in a week. And so once we got to that goal, we celebrated it like it was a very big accomplishment, like it was 1 million. Like we celebrated that like it was like okay, we have this figured out. And the next goal was now 1,000. How do we get to 1,000 people in a week? And all of the things we did to get to 100 almost don't matter. Now it's a different set of things, and it's like, okay, well, we can't pass out flyers to get to 1,000. So we're going to have to figure out a way to market this thing, and we're going to have to figure out a way to build a user acquisition system and a strategy around that, and really bang our heads against the wall and do research around how do we outcompete other people marketing lawn care services and really kind of focus in on that piece of the system. And that took another year and a half. And then once we got to 1,000, we set a goal for 5,000 and then 10,000. And just did that little by little, setting these goals that we knew were hard, but that we could attain. And then keeping that momentum going, and eventually compounding took hold. And now today we're at 300,000. And we want to be at 1 million. And so this same strategy is we're still running the same playbook today. I heard a quote the other day that it's easy to hide behind wanting to change the world. And what that means is it's like, if you have this big goal that's like, it's kind of abstract and it's like a big goal. Like the goal could be, I want to scale my business. Well, what does that really mean?
Yeah.
And maybe it's like, I want to scale my business to $10 million. Okay. All right. That's a little more specific, but it's really easy to hide behind that goal. Because it's not real easy to measure the progress you're making towards it. So the goal should really be something more along the lines of, if you're at 100,000 in sales, it's like 250. And nothing else matters till you get to 250. And if it's like you got 2 employees and you want to be at 10 and you want to figure out the economics around that, nothing matters until you get to 5. And so really crystallizing these small goals. And you got the big goal, but really focusing everything you have on the small goals is how we kind of worked our way through every level of the game.
Yeah, the milestones. I mean, that's the way that I like to look at those, is, breaking those down into those milestones so that I know, hey, I've made it this far. One of the, oh my goodness, there were so many.
Celebrating the milestones.
Yeah.
That's the big thing. It's like rewarding yourself. Yeah, sure. We only had 100 customers. Big deal. I think we were making total a couple $1,000s a month. All 3. Yeah, 3 people quit their jobs. To try to get a little fire going around $1,000 or $2,000 a month. It was almost comical, but we celebrated that like it was 1 million because it was important. We knew that if we just kept going, we kept doubling that number, that time and compounding would take place. And so it's important to be patient and to work that process and to grow those numbers. But you don't want to confuse patience with procrastination. And a lot of founders, a lot of business owners will fall into this kind of myth of, well, just trust the process and manifest it and it'll happen. And it takes time. And Ray Kroc was 52 years old when he started McDonald's, and Colonel Sanders was 72, and Bill Gates was 30 before he started Microsoft, and all of these kind of it's okay. It takes time. It does take time, but you don't want to confuse that patience for procrastination, because most of the time it is procrastination. It is hiding behind the big goal of, I want to scale this company, and it's not really mapped back to anything practical and anything actually achievable. And so that's kind of how you break it down. And to your point, knock down those milestones and and like milestones are great, but it's almost like nothing matters until you get to that milestone. So it's almost like the milestone is almost like a mini finish line in a way.
Yeah.
It's like nothing. I got to throw everything I got at just getting to that milestone, because if I don't, nothing else matters.
Yeah.
And the problem is most people are worried about everything else. Going back to the video game metaphor, they're on level 2 and they're worried about Bowser. And it's like, you don't have Bowser problems. You got Waterworld problems. And I'm dating myself with that analogy, but like,
and me too.
For those of us that were alive in the 80s, and grew up on Nintendo, think about that. I have to remind myself about that all the time. Is like, am I worried about Bowser problems? I'm not on level 10. Maybe I'm on level 6. I need to worry about the level that I'm on and focus all of my intensity on that level.
Yes, we have to learn how to crawl before we can walk, right?
Absolutely.
I have a friend right now who's completely stressed out about his t-shirt business. He's had it for a long time. I happened to notice you could start it on Amazon. When I was on Amazon, I've been publishing on Amazon for a year. I noticed you could do t-shirts. I call him and tell him he's so stressed, like racking his brain like a crazy maniac. I can't even imagine what it must be like to be in his head right now. And I was like, listen, you have one goal right now. And that is to get Amazon to approve you to be on the platform. Because if they don't approve you, none of this matters.
Yeah.
None of it.
Yep.
How am I going to sell a million t-shirts and I'm not even on the platform?
Right.
Yeah.
Focusing on just that one thing. And really a lot of times in business, and the topic of our talk is scaling your business. A lot of times when you're trying to scale your business, you're really operating like an emergency room, in a sense of triaging around what are the things that are that are happening the most, that are the most detrimental, that are the most important, that I need to focus everything on. And then a lot of times it's like, okay, I'm focusing everything on, I'm solving that one problem. But maybe it's like I'm building a system to help make that problem go away. And a lot of times, in today's world, we have a labor shortage in pretty much every industry. And so so a big problem for a lot of small businesses is just finding people that will stick around, that will work, that will want to do a good job, that finding the right people, and really that founder needs to be spending all their time on an employee training system, on a way to get a new recruit into the business and get them up to speed in a week rather than a month, or in 2 weeks rather than a year. And if you don't, you're just going to keep beating your head against the wall, solving that same employee training problem over and over again, and you'll never build a business that scales. And so a lot of times,
bottlenecking.
Yeah. Exactly. A lot of times it's triaging around what is the number one problem my business is facing at this stage, at this level, and I don't need to go to the next level until I build a system that can help me alleviate this, that can solve this. Or it could be sales. It could be, I've got great people, but I want to give them some overtime, but I don't have enough sales. Well, then that's another problem that you need to build a system around. How do I get the phone ringing? How do I build a robust marketing system to get the phone ringing? It could take you a year, could take 2 years, but nothing else matters until you solve that and build the system for that.
Yeah. Wow, so many good things. I love the video game analogy. I know it seems like Fitzroy did too. But I love that because it is, when you're thinking about levels and breaking down your business, so that I think everyone understands that concept, and being able to go through and just say, okay, I've got to complete all of these things before I get past this level, before I reach that point. And while the end of the game is great, and that there is an end and that you could possibly win, you have to go through many, many levels. And sometimes playing the same thing over and over. There's elements of, the previous level into this one, but you had to take those steps. And so I love that it was that practical. I'm curious, as far as, you guys got a few people on the platform. You started with some on there. They're trying out the services. You're still having to build. How are you dealing with or balancing, customer satisfaction? And I want everyone to understand that they have their customers, as you described it. You've got your lawn care providers, those people that are actually doing the work. You've got your consumers coming to this platform. So you're trying to make sure that the user experience for both sides is, above par, that this is, meeting their needs, bringing these people together in this marketplace. As people are on the platform and you're trying to deal with those problems, you've still got to grow. So tell me a little bit about, that part of, your growth process.
Yeah. So to your point, we have our main customer is the lawn care company. They pay to use the platform. That's how the business underwrites itself. But consumers need to get value from the platform as well, obviously. So we have a value proposition to consumers and a value proposition to vendors. And out of the gate in level 1, that was all out of whack. We had an assumption of what we thought the problems we were solving were, but as time went on, we were getting feedback from people using the platform. We started to realize, well, actually, no. Consumers don't want the cheapest lawn care service. They just want somebody to show up on the day they're supposed to show up. So that our value proposition needs to change. We thought we were building a system to deliver cheap lawn care. No, it's a system that delivers reliable lawn care. And then lawn care companies want to increase their margins, but people are only going to pay so much. So we got to figure out a way to drive them more customers on the streets they're already mowing yards on. And so how do we solve for that problem? We didn't really know any of this until we kind of got in there and started putting the reps in and started talking to people using it. So the value proposition of what you think you're delivering to the marketplace when you first get started with no customers is probably off the mark for what actually you're going to end up doing. And you don't really know until you get in there and start interacting with customers and customers start using what it is that you've brought to the marketplace. And that's how it unfolded for us. And so we would get a little handful of customers, and then we would code up the software and keep working on improving that over and over again, and then go get some more customers and kind of ping-ponging back and forth. And then it became evident to me that I was as the founder, I was having to do 3 things at once, and I needed to map out my week based on these 3 things. And the 3 things were working in the business, which, to your point, is making sure that people are happy that are using it, that there's no fraud occurring in the business, that bills are getting paid, that what freelancers or employees we had were getting paid, making sure the business was running. And then the second thing was working on the business. And it's like, well, we can't pass out flyers anymore. We got to build a SEO strategy, or we got to build a Google AdWords strategy, or we got to build a Facebook ad strategy. And so what does that really look like? I don't know. I got to build that. I got to work on that system. And then the third thing you're doing is you're working on yourself. You have to read books. You have to take online classes. You have to go to YouTube University. You're going to have to listen to podcasts, and you're going to have to level up, because every business reaches kind of like a choke point of the founder's personal capabilities. And this has repeated itself over and over again for me, 25 years in business, where the business is stalling out because I'm not any good at that one thing. And if I'm not any decent, if I'm not decent at it, then I can't really hire well for it. And so now I've got to kind of pick up a book and learn how to be a decent copywriter, or learn how to be a decent programmer, or a decent designer, or decent customer experience designer, or whatever it is. That's the choke point for the business. I've got to become 80-20 good at it. And like the gold standard of this is Elon Musk. He can go to Tesla, and he can walk to any corner of that factory floor and speak to somebody in the battery life department about the alchemy of the battery, and then he can speak to somebody in the manufacturing processes, and he speaks to somebody in accounting. Like, he knows it end to end. Do the same thing in SpaceX. He do the same thing in any of his companies. And so you kind of need to be that way. You need to be like a generalist and 80-20 good at a lot of different things. And if you're not, then your business is going to kind of like suffer, and that's going to be the choke point. And so doing all three of those things, and then as time goes on, you can spend maybe level one, you're 5 days a week in the business. And then maybe Saturday, you're working on the business. And then Sunday is your day off, quotation marks in the air, it's your day off. So maybe that's the day to work on yourself. You take Sunday afternoon and you spend 4 or 5 hours taking some courses on whatever it is you're trying to learn to get through that level of the game. As time goes on and you work through these metaphorical levels, you can kind of invert those where maybe only 2 or 3 days a week are in the business, and then 3 days a week are on the business. And then before you know it, you can get to a point where maybe half your time is on yourself. And now you're leveling up, you're evolving, you're growing, and the business's options are growing with that.
Yes.
No business can scale unless the founder is willing to invest in themselves and grow.
So good. I love, and we talked about this a little bit at our pregame, but if you could touch about it a little bit, because I think it's so important to touch on this. What you're talking about, working on our business, investing in ourselves, right? We need that to be able to grow. And I've met so many entrepreneurs who really are afraid of taking ownership of their business, right? They don't want to really take that responsibility. I think it's partly a fear of failure type of thing. But why I want to talk about that too is we talked about doing what you're so passionate about. And I think that's why that's so important. So many times people aren't doing what they're passionate about. So when it does come time, we're in a world, especially as entrepreneurs, we are constantly having to reinvent ourselves, right? It's sink or swim. So if you're not passionate about it, what makes you want to learn something like coding with you, Brian? Or, I have my publishing company. I've just gone through something the same as I've just taken another level up. I'm listening to you talk and I'm just like, woo, like it's going to be so fired up. I'm like, I'm right on point, baby. And, but I'm passionate about it. Like part of my routine is I'm laughing because my husband's gone. So I'm like, the show's over. As soon as the show's over, I'm going to create some coloring books while he's not home. Like I have it all planned out in my mind, right? Because my passionate is driving my discipline. It's driving everything. But I know that's not a common thing. So can you hit on that a little bit?
Yeah, you really. So let me back up. I think follow your passion just at face value is probably bad advice, because people hear that and they're like, well, I'm passionate about the guitar. And so I want to be I'm from Nashville, and we get 100 musicians move here every week. And unfortunately, pretty much all of them, can't make a living doing that. And so it's like, I think follow your passion, just like follow your passion, end of thought, I think is bad advice. That said, I think you have to find the joy in what it is you're doing, and be passionate about what it is that the business does in terms of, like, what we do with GreenPal is a public good. Like, people get value from that. Lawn care services grow their business and make their livelihood on top of our technology. Like, that's important to me. That's why I get out of bed in the morning, and I'm passionate about that. I hate the smell of fresh cut grass. I am not passionate about lawn mowing, and I never have been, even though my first business was a landscaping business, and I spent 15 years in that, and then now this. I've spent 25 years in this industry in some shape or form. I hate mowing yards, so I am not passionate about grass cutting, but I am passionate about building something that touches the mass market, and that is a public good that people get value from. That is very important to me, and so I'm passionate about that. So I think it's important to tap into that and figure out what it is about your business that improves the lives of others in some way. And if you can't outwardly, do it inwardly in terms of the employees that work in the business. And so you should get fired up about that. You should get fired up about, okay, well, I have 3 employees, or 2, or just 1. And if I screw this up, they don't have a job. And if I screw this up, they don't they can't pay their bills. They can't go to the grocery store on Friday. The first employee I ever hired, I was 18 years old, mowing yards, and this guy was way behind on child support payments. And if he didn't get a check on Friday, he couldn't pay his child support, and he went to jail. And that was a very at 18 years old. That was a very it was a very it was a very serious situation for me to be in terms of, like, I got to make sure this guy gets enough hours. Got to make sure my customers pay me. I got to make sure I can give him a check this Friday. And so I was kind of took that seriously and carried that with me 15 years of running that business, that I was passionate about the people that worked in the business and making sure that they benefited from the business's growth as well. And so if you can't find the passion, get fired up about the marketplace, at least you can always find it internally with the people that work in the business with you. And it's important to tap into that, or else this game is just too hard to get through all these levels without it.
Yeah.
So true.
We are going to, that was good. And we're going to come back to you. So I'm excited. I'm sorry our business owner couldn't join us tonight, but we're going to take a quick break, and then Brian will come right back to you.
All right. That was an awesome clip from Quanta 88. I have on the bottom of the screen their clicker. We had them on last week. Carlton was on, right? Founder of ID System. We talked about Quanta 88, which is an awesome asset. You can get your business plan done in less than 88 minutes. So check it out there. We have the pleasure of talking to Brian Clayton, CEO and founder of GreenPal. We are talking about scaling your business. GreenPal is the Uber of lawn care. So if you have a lawn, check it out. Brian, thank you for joining us. This has been just an awesome conversation. We've had a lot of, what I've loved is we've talked higher law and lower law, which I love that. I think that it's important in all aspects of business. And thank you for taking the time out to join us.
My pleasure. I'm having fun.
Yeah,
So,
good.
Are you guys nationwide now?
Yeah, GreenPal is in around 300 odd cities, but yeah, nationwide, United States. Anybody in a town with over 20,000 people, we've got what we call liquidity in your city, which means you can get on there, and then there's vendors that are available that will submit pricing to you. And started off just in one though. Started off just in Nashville.
Yeah.
We kind of nailed it in one town, and then scaled it from there. And it took 2 or 3 years to get our second city, and then another year to get our third, and then we got to a point where we were launching a new city every day.
Wow.
But we wouldn't have been able to do that had we not hand cranked it first. And along the lines of conversation of scaling your business, in a weird way, before you scale your business, you have to do things that don't scale, and you have to hand crank these things and understand what those processes look like, so then you can try to automate them and scale them. And a mistake I see a lot of founders make is they want to scale too quickly, or they want to build things for scale before they have 100 customers. And because the reality is selling to 100 customers sucks. That's not fun. I'd rather just go build a system. I'd rather go build a website. I'd rather go build this other thing. And it's like, no, let's hand crank it first. Let's do things that don't scale, so then we know what to scale, and we scale the right thing. If you try to scale too quickly, it's like trying to pour gas on wet leaves. It'll just never take off. Or another metaphor would be, it's like trying to put rocket fuel into a Toyota Camry. It's just going to blow apart. And so nail it first, then try to scale it.
Okay, so
We'll have to scale it.
Yeah, now that's going to be stuck in my head. So I appreciate that, Natalie. So when we're thinking about, you're getting that first city, you've got that down. How did you guys manage to get into your next city? Do you have someone there already? Were you advertising and saying, hey, try this out? How did you guys go from 1 to 2?
It's a really good question. So it's kind of funny. I remember the day very clearly. Like I mentioned to you guys in the pre-call, in the pre-show, I'm sitting there like discontent with how things are going, because I had a landscaping company that was doing pretty well and sold it, and now I've started this website that helps market landscaping services, and we're in one city, and it's like, I built this thing because I wanted to take over the world, and it's 2 years and I'm still in one damn city, and I'm talking to my co-founders, and I'm like, we need to scale this. We need to be in 20 cities by the end of the year. And my co-founder said to me, he said, Brian, we had like 100 people use this last week, and I think we pissed off 99 of them. and so that was like and he was right. There's no reason to scale something that isn't working. And so the first step was, let's flip those numbers. Let's make 99 people happy, and then you're not gonna make everybody happy, and then one person unhappy. And so that took like another year to figure out, okay, what's going wrong, and what are people upset about. Once we had that right, then we moved into our second city, and I know the inside of every Starbucks of Nashville, Atlanta, and Tampa, Florida, because those were the first 3 cities that we launched. And so it was me, like, personally going to these places and living there for a month or 2 and interviewing landscaping contractors and like sussing out, would they be a good fit for the platform or not, and then meeting with the first handful of customers that would use it and trying to figure out what their experience was good or not, and because we didn't really know if we could run this thing remotely, and so we, with the first 3 cities, we just did like boots on the ground, same way that we did Nashville. And as time went on, we began to understand, okay, well, we don't really have to be there for this. And now that we've kind of gotten 1,000 of these contractors onto the platform, we know what to look for and know what makes a good contractor versus a not so good one. So how do we build a system for that to kind of screen out the ones that aren't so good and onboard the ones that are good? So we were able to build self-serving systems for these things, because we hand cranked them through the first 3 cities, and a lot of face-to-face meetings, belly-to-belly meetings with these people. But we wouldn't have known what to build had we not done that. So in order to scale, you got to do things that don't scale.
It's so difficult. Natalie, I'm so sorry. I feel like you were about to say something, and I'm fascinated because I think about, it's the simplicity of the idea. I love it, because we talked about this. It's not like it's new, but, being able to talk to someone who was there, who started at the beginning, and, all of the effort that it took to get into that, the time that it took, and just that trial and error. How did it feel, I guess, when you were that the 99 that got pissed off, and we'll go with that, right?
Yeah.
That's a tough thing for me, and I think a lot of people, because you want people to be happy. You know, you've poured so much into this, you've thought about it, and then to hear they're not happy, you know,
Yeah.
it's hard.
Yeah, it's hard, and it's like a lot of founders will stick their head in the sand and hope it goes away, or want to hide behind the computer and not do customer support, and or just make up excuses. Oh, they don't get it, you know, and it's like, oh, or they're unreasonable, or whatever it is. And in a way, you know, it is hard because Amazon and Uber have kind of conditioned the American consumer to expect magic. You know, I can get on Amazon right now and get a box of toothpicks delivered in 2 hours or less, you know, and so like that's the customer expectation that you're competing against or competing with. And so it can be frustrating. But it's not happening to you, it's happening for you. This is the marketplace telling you, it's like free R&D. You're not at a loss for what you need to be focused on. It's like, okay, 99 people are upset. Let's talk to all 99 that will talk to us, and let's put all of the things they're upset about and pissed off about into a spreadsheet, and then let's just rank them by the number of times they're happening, and let's just focus on the number of occurrences, and then work our way down the list. And that's what we did. And
I love that.
The thing is they would tell us everywhere we sucked, and it was lawn guy didn't show up. Lawn guy's lawnmower was too big for the fence gate. Lawn guy didn't honor his price. Lawn guy left grass clippings all over the driveway. You know, he or the lawn guy mowed with dull blades, or you name it. There's a million things that can go wrong. And so we would collate all these things into a list, and then we would focus like a triage and focus on building systems to solve the ones that were happening the most often. But the thing is, these people never told us, I don't need this. I don't want this. And so, and we took that as a sign that, yeah, they weren't pleased with the experience, but they were actually let down that it didn't work magically. But what if it did? We might have something here. And so that was validation for us to keep going and to get those numbers corrected and just to keep working on making it better and better. The thing about building a business and scaling a business is that the problems never end, and that's okay. It's like you think as a founder, you're like, if I can just hire this one person and make this one key sale, everything will be okay. And that's a lie. That just means that just means that you just get to solve another set of problems.
Yeah.
Is all that means. And so it's like, I think the trick is to embrace that and to understand as a founder of a business that you want to scale, you have to be a relentless, never-ending problem-solving machine. And you're always going to have a set of problems that you're solving for, that you're trying to build systems around, that you're trying to figure out why did this go wrong, and you're getting to the root cause, and you're building a solution for it in your business to make it better. And that never goes away. And if you're not cool with that, and if you don't want to sign up for that, that's fine. Like, go backwards, go back to level one, just be a solo operator. And you don't have to build a business that scales. Like, you don't have to. Nobody says you have to. It's okay to be small and profitable and lean. That's fine too.
You know what I love about that is that those people were probably grateful that they had you to go to anyways to say, hey, this guy didn't pick up the grass, or hey, this guy's lawnmower blades were dull. Because if they didn't, who fixes the problem? They just have to go find another person. At least then you're able to fix the challenge, right? I know I had a client a couple months ago, and it was the insurance company was driving me crazy because they're trying to switch all the AI, and so they messed up like everything technological. I was ready to just like go postal. And my client said, thank God we had you. We would have never been able to go through all this without you. I'm thinking I'm the worst agent on the planet. They must hate me. And that's what she says. Thank God we had you.
Well, so yeah.
I would never have been able to deal with the insurance company. And I'm sure those people were thinking the same thing about GreenPal.
Yeah, totally. It was twofold for us at that level of the game. so maybe level 1 or level 2. One, we needed to figure out what was going wrong and how do we fix that and how do we make that better. So it was like an R&D thing. It was a are we on the right track or not thing. But the other half of it was we flat out needed the sales. We needed these people to use this thing we built because we needed the sales. We needed the revenue. So it was a practical thing in terms of making a customer happy and keeping them onto the system because we needed the sales. But the other half was this is just free R&D. We now know that we don't need to focus on building out this other social media marketing system. That doesn't matter right now. Like what we need to do is figure out why didn't the guy show up on Thursday when he was supposed to show up on Thursday? We have to figure that out, and nothing else matters until we figure that out. Because 27 different people who used it told me that, and if you're willing to do that, you're willing to talk to your early customers, and you're willing to always let their feedback guide you, I think you'll never be at a loss for what you should be focused on.
So true. We can always grow and get better. Awesome. Yeah. Well, are we ready? That was awesome stuff. I mean, lots of great information in there. Are we ready to bring on? Is it about time for Fitzroy, Shanna, or do we want to wait a few more minutes? Do we have time for any more question for Brian? Fitzroy, do you have a question for Brian? He is very intently.
I have so many questions.
Okay, I know you do, Shanna, my business coach. Brian.
More than we have time for. No, it was. I think this is so encouraging, and I love all of the, just practical advice, and that's something that we want to leave these, our audience with today as well. Is, thinking about starting a business, thinking about, we've already talked about, understanding when it's time to scale, but just any words of encouragement that you have for new or aspiring business owners that are, in this space, that are right where you were. You've taken one business and you were successful in that, and now you've parlayed that business into something else, something different that serves a broader group of people and it fulfills you. So I'd love for you to just give us some encouraging words, something to hold on to.
Yeah, a lot of what I hope somebody gets from hearing me ramble about this stuff is, if that guy can do it, I can do it too. And a lot of times, in a traditional job market or a career path, you have to have a title to do a certain thing. You have to be an engineer, you have to be a designer, and maybe you had to go to school for these things. And you have to have that title. You have to be a lawyer. You have to have a title to do it. But the cool thing about a business ownership is you don't have to have a title. You can be all of these things, and you can learn how to do these things, and you can be, we have a question here about the 80-20 rule, which is what's called the Pareto principle. You can get 80-20 good at the legal, at the copywriting, at the design, at the marketing, at the sales, at the accounting, all of these things, especially these days with things like YouTube. And so it's like you don't need the permission. You don't need the title. You don't even need to go to school. You don't even need the degree. And if you look at it that way, it's like, yeah, it's hard. Yeah, the first 3 or 4 or 5 years are going to be tough, but it's unlimited upside. Whereas if you go work a career somewhere in corporate America, it's capped upside. And so you as a person, because you're learning the 80-20 of all of these different things and you're applying yourself, you evolve into a whole new person. You become wiser, a more humble, probably a more interesting person to be around. And I think you get access to these types of things, these learnings, in a way that you can't if you worked a job somewhere. So it's worth it it's worth it in my assessment, and stick it out. Don't give up.
Definitely. You need to know your business. You need to understand your business. So
totally
awesome. Good stuff. All right. Thank you, Brian. So it is time. We're going to bring It's Your Boy Fitzroy. If you'll stay with us, we're going to have a little game that we like to play. So the 80-20 basically, we got another one. What is the 80-20? So 80-20 is basically knowing 80%, know enough to be dangerous, know enough to have a conversation, know enough to understand your business. Elon can go through any place in Tesla and talk about from the sky rocketing stuff or whatever down to the battery of the car. He can have an intelligent conversation. He understands his business. That's the 80-20 rule. So it's kind of like know enough to be dangerous. Right?
Yeah. Know enough to be dangerous, and 80% of the knowledge comes from 20% of the material. So you can get in there and become like a decent copywriter by consuming 20% of what being a copywriter means. You don't have to like spend 10 years in school learning it. And so being 80-20 good at about a dozen different things is what's required to scale your business.
Awesome. All right. So I hope that answered everyone's question there. He is. It's your boy Fitzroy. Are you ready for tonight?
Everyone, can you hear me?
No? Game show?
Yes. Can you guys hear me, by the way?
You got your buzzer, Shanna?
Okay.
Yes, we can hear you.
Okay, so we are going to do Family Feud style. I'm going to ask a question. You guys are going to answer one person at a time. I have the top 10 answers. You only need 5 correct answers to win. But if you get 3 incorrect answers, you lose.
Okay.
I want to go da 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 da. Is that the song now?
Is that Family Feud? Is that the Family Feud theme song?
It sounds similar. I think that's it.
I just can't
Okay.
sing. We're good.
Okay, I'm ready. Oh, wait, but don't make it. Okay, this is the last episode of season 6. This is the last episode of season 6. So make it easy.
Make it easy.
I want to win.
This should be easy. These are going to be answers you should know. So the question is, what are the most successful companies that started as a small business?
Okay.
So we're going to start with Brian.
The
What would
most
you say?
No pressure, Brian.
Apple.
Apple is one of them. Yes.
Oh, good job. Pass or play. We're going to play, Fitzroy. We're going to play.
You're going to play? Okay, perfect. So how about you next? What would you say, Natalie?
Okay, so I'm totally cheating, and I'm going to say Amazon.
Amazon is one of them. Yes.
Okay. So that was what I was going to say. And I do want to use my time. I know the time is ticking, right? That you're going to buzz me in a minute. And I am going to cheat as well. But I feel like, didn't they all? I mean, they all
No,
started.
not all companies started as a small business.
No, I get it. No, there are like successful businesses that were made from businesses coming together. So I'm going to go ahead and cheat as well with Microsoft.
I don't have Microsoft as one of the top 10.
I feel like your list is wrong. I'm going to challenge this list. No. Let's move on.
Brian, what about you?
Another big business that started off as a small business. Well, Facebook started in the dorm room, but I don't know if that's on the list.
Facebook is on the list.
All right.
Nice, Brian.
All
Okay,
right,
good job.
Natalie.
Oh my gosh.
Only one X, Natalie.
Walmart.
I don't have Walmart on the list.
Sam Walton.
Okay.
Oh, Carlton. Where you
to
get
you,
these
ma'am.
answers from?
Carlton, stop telling us answers because my cheating is not working.
Carlton,
And
give me
I'm
a
not
wrong
using that one. Okay, no. I feel like KFC.
I'm surprised you went KFC, but no, I don't have KFC on the list.
Are you serious?
I'm serious. As far as the top 10,
Oh, 10. Yeah, I meant McDonald's.
McDonald's is on the McDonald's is on the list. Nice back pedal, by the way. Very, very good.
Yeah, I think you just misheard me. When I said that. But yeah.
Well,
Y'all
that's
making
4
me
correct
hungry.
answers. So the last one we're gonna give to Brian. Brian, you only need 1 more correct answer.
Let's
Brian!
see. So it's the top 10 biggest companies that started
Yes.
off as a small business.
And they're all
Netflix.
still active companies, correct?
They're all still active companies.
There you
I'll go with Netflix.
Ooh.
I don't have Netflix.
Wow.
Chick-fil-A.
I have Google, YouTube,
Oh my God.
Disney,
Wow.
Mattel,
Oh.
Go.
and Ben and Jerry's. Oddly enough, I didn't think Ben and Jerry's was that big.
God.
Ooh.
Yeah.
Very
But they all
interesting.
started as small businesses. Yep.
Interesting.
Rock and roll.
I'm curious about
There
Ben
you
and
have it.
Jerry's story.
Don't
That's
shoot the
curious.
messenger.
Just want to make ice cream from home, sell it to my neighbors. Sounds like fun. Awesome.
That
All
was
right. Great
great.
game, Fitzroy. Thank you for joining us. Brian, thank you so much for joining us.
Yes.
I mean, you brought so much great information on personal development, working in your business, working off your business. You're providing a great service to the world, right? As we're scaling, you're going different places. So go to greenpal.com. You go and it's so simple to use. It took me like literally 5 seconds. Thank you, Shanna. It took me like 5 seconds to go. You put your address in, you give your name and email address, and they send you a quote. It's that easy to use. You don't have to buy, right? But it's just a way to get a comparison right away and keep your life simple. So what an awesome, awesome service. So Shanna, did you want to go into grants?
Yeah, we'll cover the 3. We'll just make it real quick and easy. If Carlton, if you can bring up Hello Alice, since this is the last full season episode, episode of season 6. Season 7 will determine when that's coming, but we want to go ahead and look at the grants. Go to Hello Alice. You guys just bookmark this because these are micro grants when you're really looking at it, but they have several, usually at least 3 at any given point are in rotation. So they have the American Dream Awards. That's several different opportunities, but that expires on the 30th. So $1,000 grant, but you've got a couple of different opportunities because it is the American Dream. NAACP and Bacardi backing the bar. This is round 3 of that one. That's a $10,000 grant for beverage, alcohol service, sales, and hospitality industry businesses. And then eBay, their up and running grant is for small businesses powering America. So they're awarding more than $500,000. It looks like $10,000 grant is the main thing. So just go there, check them out, apply. It won't hurt. And these are short applications usually, but you need to know a little bit about your business. So just make sure that you can tell your why. That's one of the big things for a lot of these grants is being able to explain your passion and purpose behind this business. So that's that.
All right. Awesome. Is this season 6?
Yes, this is season 6.
I'm fairly confident I put season 5 on all of the podcast episodes. Oops, or maybe just a few at the end. Maybe I had a secret moment of putting 5 at the end, but it's all good, you guys. Well, hey, the end of season 6. Wow, so amazing. What an awesome season it's been. It has flown by. Thank you so much, everyone who has supported us through this season, who's been on the show, who's watched the show, who's given us a like, share, subscribe, who's given us a referral, who's just helped us grow. We appreciate you. Thank you for watching the show tonight. Thank you for watching the replay. Thank you for Fitzroy for always bringing us a good time.
Yes.
Thank you, Brian, for all of your wisdom. Personal growth wisdom, scaling your business wisdom, working in and on your business wisdom. I think it's so important to be able to differentiate the difference. And of course, thank you to my partner in crime, Shanna Mavis, for an awesome season. We appreciate you guys so much. You saw that IB Systems has a new product, Quanta 88. Go check it out and get your business plan. Do something today that will help you better your business. We love you guys. We appreciate you, and we'll see you soon. Have a great day, everyone.
Imagine creating a business plan by simply sharing the idea. Quanta 88
is an AI-powered solution that drafts your custom business plan for you in less than 88 minutes. It also creates 87 custom supporting documents, from a marketing strategy and pitch deck to SWOT analysis and industry analysis. Save months of work with Quanta88. Quanta88.com. Your idea, your plan, just faster.
Our goal is simple: to help you achieve the dream and vision you first had when you thought about starting a business. We're here to make growing your business less complicated. There are building blocks to build a sustainable business. We promise to seek them out and address them all.